Greetings and welcome to the 31st episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases. As always, I'm your host Dark Elf Guy, and I once again have to apologise for a late episode this week. I know that's getting a bit old, but I've just been a bit preoccupied lately. And we do have another 13 mods for your viewing pleasure this week, with a bit of a random theme overall. As always, you can find down the links for each mod down in the description below. So now why don't we go ahead and get started with our popular mod of the week. Which this week is Illy's Oh My Goddess by Illuminal. This mod overhauls the appearance and clothing of the Imperial Cult, giving them a much needed unique look, as is only fair for disciples of the Nine Divines. And as you can see here, there's a fairly wide variety of new clothing items. There's also 2 new rooms added to the Imperial Chapel in Ebonheart, including a new NPC who can transport you to the other Imperial shrines across Vvardenfell. You'll even find a bathing area, where you can relax in a hot tub for a small fee. And it acts sort of like a bed. Each Imperial Cult shrine will now have a priest or priestess that will offer you quick transport to other shrines for a small donation. And of course, you can buy some of the new cult clothing for yourself once you achieve a high enough rank. There's also some new dialogue added by this mod, including new topics of existing Imperial Cult members, and new greetings based on the Imperial Cult clothing you're wearing. For our house mod of the week this week, we're taking a look at yet another portable house mod by Tizzo. This mod adds a spell right when you start the game, allowing you to teleport to a portable house, or create a portal. Creating a portal allows you to take companions along with you, which is very convenient. This portable home provides a small place for you to live and store your stuff, including a small dining space and kitchen, as well as a small bedroom for you to use, as you can see here. Of course, there's a lot more to this house than meets the eye, including a music box that you can configure with your own music, if you so desire, and a background note covering all the features the house provides, and also a shrine for getting cured. You can also find a practice lock chest that relocks for skill training, as well as an ingredient sorter. And also ingredient desorters, which acts by putting ingredients for a particular type of potion in your inventory. And there's even a potion sorter for organization, as you can see here. This week's gameplay mod of the week is Andromeda's Fast Travel by SG Monkey. This mod makes it so that you can fast travel to various cities just by clicking on the related signposts, typically found on any intersection of roads, making it very convenient. And as you can see here, an appropriate amount of time will pass, just as if you had used a Silt Strider. And of course, you can keep doing this to quickly get across Vvardenfell. This makes traveling around Vvardenfell much easier, and it should be mentioned that this comes with real signpost compatibility. Next up is our town mod of the week, and this week we have Moonshadow Temple by Shannon Wickman. This mod adds a new town in its own interior cell, and composed of 2 districts and a harbour. There's a manor district, as you can see here, with a number of different manors scattered about. And you also notice that this town is composed of two architectural styles, the Vilothi architectural style and the Lalu architectural style. An interesting combination. And there's also the temple, which is sort of off on its own island, as you can see here. And there's a number of tree-lined walkways going around the town. Very lovely looking. Now, unlike most towns, this one is completely empty, with each manor an empty shell, just waiting for you to furnish and populate it. And each manor is composed of a number of different rooms, each using different styles of flooring. You can even change the type of floor on each tile by clicking it, and selecting from a wide variety of options. You can see a number of different choices here. Now there's also a furniture store in town, including the only pre-populated building, where you'll find a number of different furniture items on display. And also where you can buy a furniture ring and teleport amulet. Naturally, you can buy each item on display as many times as you like, assuming you have the gold. And it'll all appear in your inventory, as you can see here. When you're ready, you can place your furniture where you want, moving it as desired afterwards. Each piece of furniture does come with movement scripts. Eventually, you can decorate each manor however you want. And it should be mentioned that all items do have collision detection turned on, so you can't just walk through things. Now with a companion mod, you can populate and decorate the city to your desire. I'm actually using Navina's assistants and apprentices, in this case, to populate the city with a number of different servants and guards. We actually showcased this in a previous episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases. Very handy. For this week's Items Mod of the Week, we have MSG Miscellaneous Specialty Goods by Wildman. This mod adds several shops across Vardenfell, each with a different theme. Each shop can be found in a different region, such as this one in the Bitter Coast region. You'll find a shop that specializes in goods for each type of player specialization. Such as a shop that sells items mainly related to warrior-type characters, as you can see here. And there are some new dialogue topics included as well. There's a number of new items included for each type of player specialization. And naturally, there's also a shop for more mage-like characters, which includes scrolls, staffs, and new spells to buy. You may even find a shop in the Realms of Oblivion, where you'll find more goods to purchase, as well as a quest for you to do. Here you can see a number of the new items included in this mod. Most of them are weapons, but there's also some new artifacts and clothing as well. As you can see here. This week's quest mod of the week is Amulet of Scry by Ibza. With this mod, you'll come across a tomb populated by a single necromancer, and a peculiar book about talking with the dead. As you can see here. Now this book describes a legendary amulet, which you'll eventually discover in yet another tomb. Along with a fair amount of new literature about its origins. Reading these books will give you a new spell. And when you cast a spell, you'll be able to see the spirits of the dead. Before you can take this amulet for yourself, though, you'll have to prove yourself worthy. To do this, you'll have to complete a number of dangerous challenges. And there's quite a few new dungeons added by this mod that you'll have to fight through in the service of the spirits. As you can see here. And once you complete the challenges, you can travel the world helping out lost spirits in need. Next up is our Landmass Mod of the week, and this week we have Anastasia by Petrograd. Anastasia is a large new landmass, full of towns, cities, and dungeons, all of them based off of the fighting fantasy books by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingston. These were a type of choose-your-own-adventure books from the 90s and 2000s. I actually have quite a few of them on my bookshelf from when I was younger. Though I have to admit that I may have cheated a little bit on those books. I mean, who doesn't cheat on choose-your-own-adventure books? You run into an encounter where you're supposed to have a key and you don't have the key. Well, how's the book supposed to be able to tell? But anyway, this mod is really a compilation of stories, starting with Death Trap Dungeon, where as part of a quest you'll go into the depths of a Baron's twisted dungeon game. This is a fairly sizable dungeon that is sort of designed to be a sort of puzzle for you to figure out, with a number of branching paths, as you can see here. Now naturally it is impossible to perfectly replicate a written medium into a visual form such as a mod, but this mod does port most of the encounters that you would find in the books into the game rather perfectly. And these encounters will potentially reward or harm you, depending on what you do. And of course there's a lot of opponents for you to face. Now aside from Death Trap Dungeon, there's an entire landmass connecting these various stories of Anastasia together, and they're populated with NPCs, woodland homes, and snowy peaks. Some of the other stories that you can find in this mod include Firetop Mountain, another one of the choose-your-own-adventure books. And you can see the mods version of Firetop Mountain here. And of course, another story is City of Thieves, and that is by far the largest portion of this mod, and it takes place in the city of Port Blacksand. Now, City of Thieves is probably my favorite choose-your-own-adventure book, probably a lot of people's favorite choose-your-own-adventure book. It's easily the most popular one, I think. And this mod comes with a lot of the scripted encounters from the book, including bribing your way to get into the city. And Port Blacksand is quite the massive city indeed, and it's fairly detailed, with lots of clutter and grass sticking up everywhere. And there are quite a few dangers lurking behind just about every corner, often leading to violence. There's even an arena where you can watch fights. And of course, there's a ton of merchants for you to find, with plenty of new items for sale. Overall, Anastasia is probably the best attempt ever made to integrate a series of books into a fully fleshed out mod, and you absolutely should check it out. For our NPC Mod of the Week this week, we have R0's Creatorium Part 1, Waters and Shores by R0. This mod adds a number of new creatures to the seas and shores of Ardenfell, including Landreth, a creature found in newer Elder Scrolls titles. And no, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. I'm just sort of guessing here. There's also a number of crab-like creatures added to the leveled list of Ardenfell, such as the king crab, which looks a lot like a mud crab but packs a powerful poisonous bite, as you can see here. You may also come across a titan crab, which is notably larger and bears resemblance to Underscar and Outrun. There's even new types of swordfish, such as the electric type here, which packs an interesting shock attack. And also blind swordfish, typically found in underwater caves. This week's New Meshes and Textures Mod of the Week is Orcish Free Texture by Joseph Melia. This mod gives the Orcish armor found in Morrowind a more distinctive look, notably with a bit of a green tint that you can sort of see here. And this really just highlights that this armor is indeed Orcish in origin, since most people probably think of orcs as being green. So this mod makes the armor better fit the Orcish complexion. Next up is our Modest Resource Mod of the Week, and this week we have Vanek's Tapestries by Vanek. This modest resource includes some 23 new tapestries for you to use in your own mods. Most of them come with a somewhat science fiction vibe to them, with things like planets, stars, and asteroids visible on the fabric. As you can see here. And in any event, they do make for some great decoration and interiors, perfect for perhaps a wizard tower or some other mod, though they could really be used in just about any interior. For our underrated mod of the week this week, we have Scout's Refuge by Neil Docksaw. This mod adds a tent salesman outside of Malag Maw, where you can buy a number of different tents. And this vendor also has plenty of unique dialogue. There's even a quest you can do if you so desire. Now these tents can be placed anywhere in the world. Just activate them in your inventory and they'll pop up right next to you. As you can see here. Each tent originally comes empty, with only a single fire pit that you can light if you so desire. Of course, you can also buy some furniture for your tent from a new vendor, including urns, chests, and bedrolls. There's a fair number of options to choose from. These act pretty much the same way as other furniture mods. Just take them from your inventory and place them where you want. As you can see here. And of course you can store things in each chest. Now in total there are 4 different varieties of tints that all pretty much work the same way. Just activate them in your inventory and they'll pop up in the game world. And they come in a variety of themes, including a scout theme and a mage theme. This week's Blast from the Past mod of the week is Nimin's Vivek Interiorator by Nimin. This mod is an overhaul of some of the interiors in Vivek, namely the plazas in each canton, giving them a unique flair and feel, as you can see here with the Telvanni canton. This extends to the wasteworks in each canton as well, with lots of new details added, such as bottles, benches, and various flower pots. You'll notice that each plaza, like the Rotoran Plaza here, will have a special effect raining down from the ceiling, and also a particular centerpiece attraction. And you may also find that attention has been especially placed on vertical design in each plaza, with multiple levels of streets and structures, as you can see here. There's also a number of new NPCs that have been added by this mod, and each NPC has something unique to say. Pretty much every added NPC has a little background story about where they came from. With this mod, you'll find that the interiors of Vivek have a much more interesting and dramatic flair to them than they did before. Finally, for our bonus mod of the week this week, we have Fire-Breathing Cliff Races by Zetman. This mod, quite frankly, adds to the terror of the skies, making cliff races a fire-breathing plague from the heavens. Now you'll constantly be pelted by fireballs as you walk around the wilderness of Vardenfell, ensuring that so long as a cliff racer plies the skies, you'll always be miserable. And by the 9 Divines, I really hope no one ever combines this with racer recursion, because that really would be the worst mod ever made. That's it for this week. As always, you can find download links for each mod shown in the description below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this episode, do please leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all next week with another 13 mods for your viewing pleasure.